Hello everybody, my name is Nick Starwind and welcome once again to another dive into the depths of lost media, where despite a massive delay in video production, we are back with a brand new video, although with a subject that we have dived into a few times before, but nevertheless we keep coming back to. So, I was going to do a video about the lost treasures of Western anime theme songs, but YouTube has delayed that video for the time being due to copyright of old theme songs that haven't been distributed in decades. But, you know, whatever, I'm not bitter, I'm incredibly bitter. So I decided to pick from a later review I was planning and bring that forward, and of course, it's about Thomas. Now, don't get me wrong, I love chatting about Thomas and the goodie bag of lost media, but there is only so much I can do before I run out of content involving it, as some subjects are massive epilogues of ever-growing stories, like our missing coach and Thomas and the Magic Railroad videos, but others have either already been covered by YouTubers in great detail, or there is barely enough information for a full video, and I really don't like making short stuff just to shove out on a whim. So, for this video, I have narrowed down a list of some of the most well-known lost media within Thomas the Tank Engine's history and ranked them in terms of how much knowledge we know about them, what evidence we have of their existence, and where people are currently at with trying to find them. Now, this isn't a complete list, nor one of the iceberg memes that go around all the time, but more or less a personalised list I've created for the purpose of this video, and yes, some of the classics will appear on it, but I won't be talking about them as heavily as I normally do, so this isn't going to be classed as a part 3, and also, I won't be taking the limelight from other users, so particular subjects I will be linking to others for context. So, without further ado, let's once again take this show on the road and enter the Starwind Zone.
You're about to enter a new dimension. A dimension of lost media, lost memories, lost dreams, lost possibilities. The realm that excavates the forgotten antiques of time, with a man clearly unqualified to lead it. So grab your tickets and get comfortable, and ride the missing coach into the Starwind Zone.
So the way this list will work is that we will start with the commonly known forms of media that have the most information out about them, and then gradually work our way down to the more obscure, maybe borderlining on rumour, with little to no evidence on its existence, and narrowing this down to 10 was pretty difficult in my opinion. Our first entry on the list is the Thomas and the Magic Railroad PT Boomer Edition cut. Now, this is pretty much solved in my opinion. Everyone in the fandom at this point knows full well about the alternative cut of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, where a human character known as PT Boomer was featured, being the parallel character in the Diesel 10 in Thomas's world, who spends all his time pestering Burnett Emo Stone into letting him destroy Lady. The first reference to this character was in the first trailers of the movie, especially in the Japanese one where he's featured heavily for some odd reason, only to later appear in a 2009 leaked piece of footage of the final chase sequence with his edit still intact. This then wouldn't be further proven until later leaks of the original script, and more importantly the leak of the work print in 2020 leading up to the anniversary Blu-ray release, which showed just how important this character was to the original story. All that remains to be found are the final edit cuts of this version with its editing completed similar to the 2009 leaked footage. But aside from that, if you want to know any more information about this, then check out not one, but 2 of my videos on both the work print and the Blu-ray versions respectively. Our second entry sees a return of the whole reason I'm even known within the Thomas community, and it's our boy, the Missing Coach, where we have 3 videos on this subject, and at the moment hold the highest view counts on my channel in order. The Missing Coach was a cancelled episode in Season 2, which would have fleshed out the characters Donald and Douglas into a 3-act story arc much like the Diesel arc, but was sadly cut from the production halfway through making it for making no sense to Allcraft and no one else, and being stored away, only using some of the clips in Breakvan and saved from scrap, with the remaining images being spread around in annuals and magazines. Fast forward to 2020 once again, and the production stills are leaked onto the internet, showcasing a variety of new never before seen images, specifically that of the real missing coach after years of believing this red coach was said special coach, and one of Douglas without his tender. Unless you live in Japan, then it was old news to you, as this particular image was printed in a 19th children's magazine. All that is left to find is the script and video footage, which we know the whereabouts of but no way of getting access without special handshakes. And also, if it does exist, the audio track done by Ringo Starr, including the original Breakfan audio which had a line cut out from it. Of course, again, you want to see more detail, then go to part 3 of my video series for the full story. Now our next entry is something I haven't really discussed on this channel before, and that is the Jack and the Soda Construction Company spin-off series. In 2003, Hit Entertainment created a new selection of characters in Season 6 known as Jack and the Pack, with the promise of creating a spin-off series devised by Phil Ferrell, but was later dropped halfway through production of its one and only season because of the similarities to another popular Hit Entertainment property, Bob the Builder. It was first teased with 2 pilot episodes introducing the character Jack as he goes to work for the Soda Construction Company and getting into all sorts of mischief, before being greenlit for a 26 episode season, with only 13 being made in the end and shoved onto various home media releases in 2006, before disappearing into obscurity. Aside from the reference to Bob the Builder, the amount of money that was spent constructing not only Jack and the Pack characters, but also the large-scale train models were also a factor in the reason for its cancellation, and the size of the models made it difficult to incorporate into later seasons, only really appearing in the film The Great Discovery and as background dressing. If you go on the Thomas Wiki section, you will find the cancelled episode names and descriptions along with the respected writers of said episodes, showing the length they would have gone to if they'd actually gone through with the whole project. But sadly, no other information is known about this show. Up next is another subject we haven't covered much on this channel, but has pretty much been looked into in great detail from various reviewers, including the most well-known researched by SewerReviewer, and that is a 1984 pilot episode of Thomas the Tank Engine. After Britt Allcroft had obtained the rights to the Railway series and got David Mitton on board, in order to sell the idea of a Jerry Anderson-inspired world of talking steam engines, a pilot episode had to be made for ITV to show the backers, in order to greenlight the first series that we all know and love to this day. The episode in question was a short adaptation of Down the Mine, where Thomas gets a ton of karma after being rude to Gordon and falls down a mine shaft only to be rescued by Gordon. Although this was the pilot episode that created the chain reaction that led us to this day of All Engines Go, the actual episode was remade while its pilot has been presumed lost or sitting in certain people's collections on worn-out VHS tapes. What we do know of its existence is this recycled shot here of Thomas passing the station, as in the pilot episode both Thomas and Gordon had different body structures, which were problematic as in many cases steam would leak from the bodywork instead of the funnels, which would later be fixed with the well-known models today. Other rumours suggest that shots such as these were also used from the pilot episode due to their unique angling compared to other shots and their structure, but this has yet to be confirmed. Only a small selection of photographs exist of its production, but aside from that there isn't really any new information on its whereabouts. If you'd like to learn more about this, I would highly suggest checking out SewerReviewer's video on the subject, as it is a great dive into another treasured piece of lost media. Following on from this, we now move on to the cancelled Thomas movie, The Adventures of Thomas. Originally set to release in 2010, it is well known within the community as the World War II Thomas film, as its story took place around London during that time, revolving around the relationship of a boy and his father and the love of the island of Sodor which they share. Directed by Shane Acker, this film was meant to target both young and old audiences, combining the real-life counterparts of the trains and mixing it with more of a railway series lore than a TV series, with its own toy line to go with it. Hit Entertainment led the project with the aid of Weta Digital and Nitrogen Studios, using live action combined with CGI for the trains, but sadly after the acquisition of the company by Mattel, saw numerous delays until 2014 where the project was completely scrapped. Only the teaser poster, teaser trailer, and CGI models of Thomas' original basis have been unearthed over the years, with people like the Soda Island Forum confirming that the script was completed in 2010 but has yet to be shared within the community. However, with the recent announcement of another live-action CGI hybrid Thomas film in the works, we can only hope this doesn't get delayed as well. So here's another one we have touched upon briefly in previous videos, with very little information to go on, and that is the sad story of Henry television broadcast in 1953. With the ever-growing success of the Railway series and the rise in children's programming on BBC television during sections such as Watch with Mother, TV executives approached Eric Marriott and Edmund Ward and proposed the idea of adapting some of the stories for television. Sadly, the whole affair ended up in a complete mess as the crew's lack of experience with train sets and numerous other problems leading up to the event caused an on-screen derailment of Henry's model during the live production, resulting in a phantom hand picking him up and sending him on his way to the face-palming of many people, including Audrey himself. Due to this error, the other episodes were delayed and in the end cancelled, leaving a dark spot on Thomas and television for many years to come for Audrey. There is no physical evidence of the broadcast existence to this day, as you are all familiar with the BBC's history of throwing or taping over old shows in favour of current ones. But what we know of its existence can be found in testimonies from Eric Marriott and in two articles, one in the Radio Times setting the date of when it was shown, and the other in the Daily Herald reviewing the broadcast itself. If you'd like to learn more about the in-depth story behind this event, then please check out ClickClackTrack's video on his channel in the links below. This then leads on to another failed attempt at an adaptation, and that is the Andrew Lloyd Webber animated show. Now, I have talked about this in a lot of detail in my Missing Coach videos, but as a quick reminder, in 1973, the overrated musical producer, Andrew Lloyd Webber, decided he wanted to adapt the Railway series into an animated series in the same style as Eye of the Engine, and produced a pilot episode in 1976 with the help of Brian Cosgrove and Granada TV. Due to the lack of interest from America, which back in the day was vital for the succession of certain shows to go ahead in production, Webber dropped the whole thing and instead created works inspired by the Railway series, such as with the musical Starlight Express. All that is known of its existence are these photographs featuring Brian Cosgrove posing next to the initial designs of what the characters would look like, giving me a sigh of relief that this never came to fruition. Returning back to the television series once more, we are now onto the Mystery of the Gordon Goes Foreign episode, which, much like The Missing Coach, was a planned episode for Season 2, but unlike The Missing Coach, only made it into the planning stages before being scrapped due to time and money. We have very little information about this episode except for this photograph with notes from David Mitton with the idea of adapting Henry's model with a new face and smoke deflectors to look like the big city engine, which could have actually worked depending on the time constraints and the set that they were using at the time. Although, whether the idea of London be used in the series lore and not just being referred to as the mainland is another question that hasn't been confirmed. Some people have speculated that the episode was partly filmed using promotional stills taken of Gordon to back this up, but with zero proof otherwise. Something even more obscure now, which even I didn't know about until recently, and that is the Railway series episodes of Jakanori. In the 1970s, between 1970 and 1972, Jakanori aired 10 episodes telling various stories from the Railway series in no particular order, with books such as The Three Railway Engines, Duck and the Diesel, Percy the Small Engine, and The Eight Famous Engines to name a few. These were told by the late comedian Ted Ray, who was famous during the 40s to 60s for his ad-libbing skills, but sadly being one of the few narrators of Thomas to never have his recordings preserved. Once again, the BBC bin found these recordings and promptly consumed them, despite it having a repeat airing in 1973, leading to no copy or recordings of the show to exist since then. Although, with it being the 70s, there may be some collectors out there who have at least the audio of those episodes, similar to how Doctor Who episodes were in some way preserved by fans using a similar method. This then leads us to our final piece of head-scratching media, one that I have heard of a lot but never really dived into until now, and that is the Day of the Diesel's original cut. It's amazing how anything involving Diesel 10 never gets a break. He was revoiced and reworked for Thomas and the Magic Railroad, he was made into a creepy grinning weirdo in Calling All Engines, and now we land back at his first introduction to the CGI series with yet another rework. In an interview with Sam Barlow, who was the script executive for the show, the original version of Day of the Diesels was meant to turn out very differently than what was in the final product. Of course, the usual suspects when involving Diesel 10 come up for a start, such as him being too scary for children, especially with Rupert Degas voicing, which was later replaced with Matt Wilkinson, leaving him to do the voices of Dart and Flynn instead, only keeping his original dialogue in at the end of Misty Island Rescue and him proclaiming,
"This steamworks is ours! It's all ours!"
in the final cut of the movie. Additionally, in an interview with Ian McHugh, it was confirmed that Splatter, Dodge and Dennis were meant to return and make their first CGI appearances, but at the last minute, they were replaced with Paxton, Sydney and Norman, who share the exact same models. Obviously because they wanted new characters and definitely not to sell more toys. Some have contested that these were just initial ideas that didn't make it into the script, but rumours have persisted, saying that in the storyboards for the film, Splatter and Dodge are featured in them, but nothing has been confirmed and the original cut seems to be lost or locked away in Mattel's vaults to this day. Either way, we will never know how far Splodge and Dennis's concept went until more stuff comes out, and unlike Thomas and the Magic Railroad, I doubt we will see the alternative cut of the film anytime soon without it being leaked first. And that is my top 10 Thomas Lost Media list. Obviously there are a lot of repeats and not many new ones, but the main issue I faced was trying to find enough information to justify talking about a particular piece of lost media. So, stuff like tender engines having flying Scotsmen and stuff didn't go high on the list, and not many people care as much about them as the other stuff that have a lot of more physical evidence in parts. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and go to look at the recommended videos I linked below because they are great content creators who deserve all the love as well. As always though, remember to like, share, subscribe, stick it on a badger, attach it to a brick, mail it to a bomb because they like a surprise, and if you can, spare some change, Governor, by donating in the links below. So, I have been Nick Starwind, you have been my audience, and I shall see you next time.